Today I'm going to be talking about tips for family nutrition. I'm going to record it on the screen recorder on my computer and upload it to YouTube, and I thought I would do the Facebook Live at the same time in case you have questions, and it brings a little bit of interaction. So some tips for family nutrition. Learn about farm to plate. Visit local farms, maybe local strawberry farms in North Carolina as we're moving into strawberry season. Try and help kids to understand where food comes from. Garden if you're able to. Involve everybody in the process of planning the garden, what seeds to buy, what transplants to buy. Involved in grocery shopping, of course. Now at the current time of COVID-19, a lot of families are not all shopping in the store, but after this ends, get people shopping together. Help in the kitchen. You can give little jobs like cutting up vegetables or planning the menu, setting the table so everybody feels involved. Have fun trying new recipes and food from different cultures. Try new restaurants again after this crisis is over, and ask friends and family from different countries for their recipe ideas. Use My Plate. It's a wonderful, simple tool. Half of your plate should be fruits and vegetables. A quarter should be your protein, be that meat, fish, beans, lentils, pulses, and a quarter should be your carbohydrates, rice, bread, potatoes, pasta, and cereals. You may have heard of the expression, eat the rainbow. Have a variety of colourful foods on your plate, and know that not every meal is going to be a masterpiece. Some meals will be wonderful and tasty and really good. Some will just be okay, and we're just eating to nourish ourselves, and that's fine. We're going to talk a little bit later about the division of responsibility, a concept by registered dietitian Ellen Satter. But the parent's job is to provide the meals of the guardians. The kid's job is to eat and stop when satisfied. Some basic requirements I've put on the next slide. So 2 to 3-year-olds require about 1,000 calories a day. 4 to 8-year-olds, boys and girls, about 1,200 to 1,400. 9 to 13-year-olds, 14 to 1,600, and in males, 1,600 to 2,000. And then in those teenage years, once you hit puberty, the growth spurt really starts. And then for girls, it will be about 1,800 calories, 2,000 to 2,400 for guys, for males. So you all know how hard it is to keep teenagers fed. So you can see from the young age, as they start to go through adolescence and start growing more, the nutrition requirements increase. Obviously, protein requirements are higher, and calcium for all that bone and muscle growth and just developing towards adulthood. But I don't encourage you to count calories. There's no need to do that. The only time that you may need to think of that without sharing with the child is maybe recovery for an eating disorder. But again, you wouldn't share those numbers with the child or the adolescent, or maybe if they're involved in sports and they have high requirements, the coaches can be mindful of those numbers. But again, we don't want kids to worry about calories, to be counting them and thinking too much, because they're intuitive eaters. Generally, they know how much and what to eat. We have to trust them. So I mentioned the importance of using My Plate. It's a wonderful tool. It's easy to understand for young kids. So when you're dishing up your plate of food, put half of the plate being your fruits and vegetables, a quarter being your protein, quarter being your grains or carbohydrates like rice, bread, potatoes, pasta, cereals, and then have some dairy. But it could be milk, like non-dairy, not from cows. It could be soy milk, rice milk, if you're a vegetarian or vegan. The next slide I have is about growth charts. So when your kid visits the pediatrician's office, they always plot your height and your weight, and we track it over time. Some important things to note is it's just a tool. It's not the be-all and end-all, but it's really important that your child follows the right curve for them, and we don't want to see any sudden drops in weight or sudden changes. Know that it's perfectly normal that your child may gain quite a bit of weight, particularly in girls, maybe 10-15 pounds just before they start going into puberty. So don't worry too much about that. That's just a natural process preparing to go into being a woman. I mentioned that we were going to be discussing Ellen Satter's division of responsibility. So the parent's job is what, when, and where. So providing regular meals and snacks, choosing and preparing the food, providing regular meals and snacks, making sure meal times are pleasant, setting a good example for kids. Always try to keep your preferences to yourself sometimes. You sometimes hear the funny expression, don't yuck somebody else's yum. So if you don't like Brussels sprouts, no problem, but don't go, ew, that's not nice, because your kids will pick up on that. Let them try foods free from any of that to decide if they like it themselves. Try not to give them too much snacks in between meals so they come to the table hungry. And trust their bodies. They're naturally intuitive eaters. So the kids' job is to eat and how much they want to eat without being pushed or coerced. So if you're a little kid, okay, if they've hardly eaten anything at all, it's just a couple of bites, that's different. But if they leave some food on their plate and say, I'm full, I'm happy, trust them and say, no problem. And know that it's the big picture. Some meals they may graze more or just eat less that day because they're not feeling it or they don't fancy it, and other days they'll make up over it. So if you look at their intake over a week, it's often nutritionally adequate and it's nothing to worry about. Again, nice calm environment and lots of love and support and involvement over the meals. So intuitive eating is a way of eating that involves honouring your natural hunger and fullness. Kids, again, are naturally intuitive. They'll ask you, oh, I'm hungry, can I have a snack? They'll know when they need a snack or when they're hungry. If we just listen to them, generally being flexible, like I've mentioned in previous presentations, know good and bad foods, trust them. My kid still has Valentine's candy in their bedrooms and they snack on it once in a while. They don't binge on it because they know it's there. And I trust them, and they have a healthy relationship with food as a consequence. So trust your child and give them permission to eat all foods. I have seen in my work when there's a breakdown of trust with the parent and the child of what they can eat, it tends to be problematic. If they're too strict with rules and don't trust the kids, sometimes they'll sneak the food. So we want to try to avoid that. Without food rules too, so trust your kids that they will naturally eat the right amount for them. And they will grow according to their growth curve, genetically in the right place for them. And that is pretty much it on my quick introduction to family nutrition. Also have fun. One of the most rewarding things I did was to help start and volunteer with a school garden club. It was amazing how powerful it was when the kids were involved in the growing of the food, and a lot of times they would just munch on Swiss chard and lettuce and pea shoots because they grew it, they had ownership of it. So there's a very powerful thing, and you can learn so much about pollination and the bees and earthworms and the soil, and it's just a wonderful learning environment. If you can, when you're traveling or going to different places, always visit local farmers markets and farms. Learn, how do we grow chocolate? How do we get tea? What does a tea plant look like? What interesting and unique vegetables could we grow this year? Have the kids involved in cooking in the kitchen and have fun with nutrition. It shouldn't be complicated or stressful. It should be enjoyable for the whole family to be involved with. I didn't see so many people live today. I probably should schedule it better or give you a heads up. I'm a very spontaneous person with these, but they'll be here. So if you have questions, comment below, send me an email, send me a message.